On aboard. Move your feet. Quick like rabbits. She was built down in Brazil. It took about 3 years to build her. 20 guys, made out of rainforest wood, Brazilian hardwood, ironwood in fact. That's one solid structure. So it was about 3 feet by 3 feet when they started. Then they shaved it down. That's an impressive piece of woodworking right there. This decking that we are standing on, this is South African cherry oak. It's red when we wash it every morning. Back in the day, Columbus had this ship, the Pinta. Then he had the Nina. What was the third ship? Santa Maria, very good, yes. He had the Santa Maria. These two ships are caravels. They were the speedboats back in the day. The Santa Maria was a cargo vessel called a nau, N-A-O. It's a Portuguese term, meaning cargo vessel, essentially. So he took these three ships, I should say. He took them from the coast of Spain. They left in August, sailed southward down to the Canary Islands. Once they were there, they got refitted the sails, got some more provisions. Fresh water is the main thing that they needed. Columbus had this crazy idea that he could get across the ocean to Asia going over water. Much like today, Afghanistan wasn't a very nice place. The Middle East also wasn't a nice place, so they wanted an easier way to get there. What Spain was looking for, the people who financed the trip, were spices and gold. They had some debts that they ran up trying to get the Moors out of the southern part of the country. Not that we can relate at all today, but they had some big debts. So they thought, you know what, let's give Columbus a shot. We've got nothing to lose really, maybe he'll find a way. So he takes off, gets to the Canary Islands, refits the sails like I said, then he takes off for Asia. Sails for 30 days, the crew at that point, 26 on this ship, 24 on that ship, and 40 on the Santa Maria. That was the cargo vessel of the day. The youngest crew member on this ship was 8 years old. That was the cabin boy. The rest of them, about 18, 16 or so, much like the military today, he'd want them young, dumb, and hardy. Columbus, back in his day, he was in his 40s when he's doing this trip. He was considered to be the wise old man. He had been sailing up and down the coast of Europe and Africa. He noticed that the winds came off of Africa at a very quick rate. He thought, I can take those to Asia. And then when he was in Portugal, he noticed that the winds came from the west. So he thought, those will take me back home. Nobody else believed him. They had sort of the circumference of the earth at that point, and they thought, you know what, there's no way you can get all the way around to Asia just on that ocean. He's crazy. But what they didn't know about was North America. So he sails across from the Canary Islands. Everybody's out here on the deck for 8 long months, sleeping, living, working, doing everything out here. Down below, it's too valuable. They've got all their water down there, all their food down there, everything. So finally, they hit the Bahamas. They sail around for a little bit, sort of taking measurements, charts, things like that. This ship has 7 feet of draft. That ship has 7 feet of draft. The Santa Maria, however, has 14 foot of draft. So that becomes very important when she hits a reef. She hits a reef Christmas Eve, 1492. Gets stuck, starts breaking apart. The crew members say, you know what, we're kind of out of luck here. We might want to just break her apart ourselves. So that's what they do, board by board, take her apart. They're on a reef, close enough to shore, you can almost walk to the land when it's low tide. So they build a fort. Columbus takes 40 of those 90 guys. Probably not the best guys. You wouldn't put the best guys on the shore. You kind of leave the rascals a little bit. So that's what they do. Put the rascals on the shore. Columbus says, stay right there, I'll be right back. So sails around a little bit more, goes back to Spain. Everyone is very shocked to see him. No one expected him back, thought he was a lunatic. So he gets back. At that point, Spain kind of opens up the catalog. They say, amazing, let's just give you whatever you need. That second trip, he takes 17 ships, 1,200 people. now Spain is in the business of colonizing the Caribbean. They've got doctors, they've got woodworkers, they've got all sorts of professions, they've got women and children. They're now going to put down stakes. So, on that second trip, Columbus discovers something new as well. What do you think he discovers? It's weather related. A hurricane. No one had ever found a hurricane before. No one had lived to tell the tale. So he hits a hurricane of 1492, loses 16 of the 17 ships that he brought along. The only ship to survive, the Nina. He wanders around, plucks out survivors, gets about 100 survivors. That's in addition to the 20 guys that he's already got on the ship. So now there's 120 people on the Nina. They have a little meeting. Columbus says, I can't make it back to Spain with all of these people. The 100 people got him outnumbered, about 4 to 1. They say, all right, you stay, and we'll go back to Spain. He doesn't like that idea either. So they pile 120 people on that ship. You can see right now, it's kind of standing room only. And that's about, I'd eyeball it at about 50 people. So you can imagine 120. Starvation, thirst kills a bunch. Rogue waves come along. They wipe some people off the deck. So they get back. About 60 people survive that trip. King and Queen Ferdinand and Isabella are not too happy with Columbus at this point. They're not sure if they believe him about the hurricane. No one had ever seen one, of course, but he's the only one that knows the way over. So he does 2 more trips, keeps continually looking for spices and gold, but he never does find it. He actually dies kind of poor and almost brought up on charges for incompetence running colonies. They kind of finagled him out of the deal. He was supposed to get 1/8 of all the wealth generated by the lands that he found. They didn't really like that since he didn't find much wealth, so they didn't really give him any money. Today, much lighter story. Down below is not historically accurate at all, thankfully. Got a big kitchen down there, flat screen DVDs, a little bit of air conditioning. We've got about 5 or 6 per crew, per ship, and the flags were flying. So that's for Ferdinand and Isabella, kind of like NASCAR. They sponsored the trip, so they'd get some exposure. That red and white checkered flag up there, that's the Spanish national flag of 1492. It's not the original one, or it's not the one that they are flying today. And then the Spanish cross, the one that looks kind of like the Florida state flag. That's what Columbus would have been flying back in the day. Ponce de Leon finally found Florida in 1513. It's actually the 500th anniversary this year. So he would have been flying that. The ships are black because they would have been painted with pine tar, or covered in pine tar, to protect them from seawater. These ships only lasted about 20 years back in the day before they had any way to preserve the hull. The termites, essentially, sea termites, would just eat away at the hull. Today we've got sort of a fiberglass encasing, and we go from freshwater to saltwater, so that kills off anything as well. These ships don't have cannons on board, except for the signaling cannon up there, because where they were going, there weren't going to be any pirates, just like the Somali pirates today. Stay close to shore, get that low-hanging fruit. There wouldn't have been anything out in that big, deep water where Columbus was going. Any questions? All right, that's my little spiel. Thank you all for coming out. Let me know if you got any other questions or anything like that. Thanks.
Good job.
Thanks, dude.
When you think about how many came across on that, that is amazing. That's really amazing.
If something breaks and you can't make a new part out of what's broken, you don't waste anything, it becomes firewood for you. You can pile sticks and lumber here, and this is where you're going to cook. You bring up a rabbit or a chicken or a goat, a pig, slaughter them up here on the deck, and then you cook right here. Everything, for the crew, everything happens, the original crew, right up here on the deck. You live, work, eat, and sleep right up here. Imagine sleeping on this deck while the ship is underway with waves coming over the rail and the bow. The sun's pounding down on you. It's a very, very difficult voyage, very miserable for these guys, I'm sure.
So why did you guys come down today? Well, we live local, but she's been learning about Christopher Columbus in first grade, so we asked her what she knew, and we told him about the ships. So we wanted to come see for ourselves as well.
Great. And what do you think?
It's cool.
Are you going to go back to school on Monday and tell all your friends about this? What are you going to tell them?
That I saw the ships and they made it like the real ones.
Is it what you thought it would be like? Really? What's different?
That I thought they would have cannons, but they don't.
I thought.
Well, there's one right there. They use that cannon to signal when they're coming into a port. What was the most interesting thing so far?
So far, the most interesting thing is the beauty of this ship. How all the stuff they used in the 15th century was. And I can't believe it's actually here today. I'm standing on the Pinta.
Well, good. That's good
What
to
do you
know.
see down there?
I saw a bed down there.
There is?
Did you sleep down there, Austin? No.
You wouldn't sleep down there?
Would you rather sleep on deck? Or in your own bed?
My own bed.
You don't want to go on the ship for a couple weeks?
Oh, yeah. They need crew, Austin.
I'll
You wanna
see
go
if
for a
I'll
couple
see if you
weeks?
can go.
I signed you up, buddy.
They need some help.
For the summer, are you going on the ship?
There's
No?
not a chance.
No, go
Skylar, would you go? No?
Go with me?
Could be the first
Bill's
girl.
going.
Oh, you go with Phil though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.